Hey guys, welcome to Herding Little Cows to the Glory of God. And today is
cold. You look
November
cold.
13th. It is cold. So we're here in Maine, and I had to go out this morning to take a child to the chiropractor. And it was cold when I went out, and I haven't warmed up since then. So after I make this video, I'm going to go make myself a cup of tea.
It's above freezing now.
It is. This morning we woke up and it was 26 degrees outside, and it's now 35. So the kids are like, oh, it looks warm, we should go out. And I'm trying to convince them it's not warm enough yet. But we're only going to get to 38, so there's not going to be warm enough. Anyway, this video today is about our 1,000 hours outside challenge that we did for the year 2023. It still is 2023, but we are done with the challenge because we got all 1,000 hours. So I'm just going to explain why we did what we did, how we did it, how we counted it, all of those things. So I had been part of a Facebook group of 1,000 hours outside in the year 2022. You can just look that up, 1,000 hours outside. I probably have a like on my page or whatever, but it's just a group of people who are trying to get their kids outside to combat the amount of hours that kids are known to be watching screens and doing video games. That is not to say that our children do not do screens or video games. They are actually watching a video right now while I do this video. So this is not that we don't do those things, but that is something that we use purposefully when either mommy needs them to be doing something else, when maybe we're sick and we're stuck in the house. We're using it for educational purposes, but not just the mindless, hey, it's first thing in the morning, let's click on the TV and it stays on all day. We actually don't even have a TV. We watch things via YouTube and things like that because for our family, we would not watch enough shows that are on regular channels that it would make sense for us to pay for a TV service. So everyone's gonna use media and screens differently. So this video is not about that necessarily, but about the idea that kids will probably get screen time. I do know that there's families that don't do screen time at all, but kids probably will get screen time. And the idea that they need to actually be outside in nature, away from screens and making their own fun, not being bored with the world around them. So this movement, I guess you would call it, was started by a lady named Ginny Urick. I think I'm saying that right. She actually started it as kind of a survival method when her kids were little. She had, I think, 4 little ones when she started it, and she just needed to find something to do to keep them occupied and not, if you've had toddlers in the house, not just bouncing off the walls and tearing the house apart. So you take away the walls, you take them outside. And she just found that it was very beneficial for her family. And then the 1,000 hours came. I think kids are known to spend 1,200 hours a year on screens. So this was kind of let's try to get away from that. So anyway, I had been watching this Facebook group for a while and was trying to figure out ways to get our family outside more, but also does it make sense for our family to track our hours and those types of things, because I wanted everybody to be on board and not, mommy's making us do this thing. So I looked at that for a while. We talked about the concept of it, and we decided that on January 1st, we were going to start as a family doing 1,000 hours outside. For our family, we were in Tennessee for the first 5 months of 2023. So we definitely got to spend more time outside this year than we would have being here in Maine. So I am not sure if our family would be able to complete 1,000 hours outside in just Maine weather conditions, because as I explained in our video of why we're here in Maine this year, we have a really hard time getting out of the house in the winter. So we got our 1,000 hours this year in October, while we actually did another 3 weeks in Tennessee visiting Virginia, our daughter Virginia in Tennessee. That gets confusing to some people, but we finished our time. And that was kind of our goal, was to get our 1,000 hours done before we came back to Maine, knowing that Maine was going to already be cool by the time we got back. We definitely spent more time outside with the purposeful intent of trying to get 1,000 hours. The kids love being outside, but because of how we parent, which is different than some other people we know, but how we parent I don't allow my children to just go run around outside without supervision. And that supervision is usually my husband or I. I will occasionally put my 16-year-old in charge, or maybe even my 13-year-old, while like, oh, I need to run in and pee, or I've got to go grab that thing. But for them to be in charge of their siblings on a regular basis is not something as a family that we do, because I think, gosh, this is going to get into a parenting video. Not something that we do as a family, of having them on a regular basis watching their younger siblings, because we feel that as parents, we're supposed to be the ones who are actually doing the parenting and the correcting. And if they are always under the supervision of a older sibling, we are missing out on the things that they're doing that are sin, maybe just little sprouts of sin in their character that we need to flesh out with them. It also causes, I find that there's sibling troubles when there are older kids that are always put in charge of their younger siblings, because there's kind of this idea of, well, I have this blackmail on you, and so you can't tell about this thing, and it just gets very, okay, so I got to wrap up the video because I'll have to come back and finish the video, but I'll talk a few more minutes. We have a Walmart delivery coming. It's our first one. I'm not sure how it's going to go. So so just to finish up this section, we do our hours outside as a family. So as if most of the family is outside, which there were 10 people when we started the challenge this year, if most of us were outside, we counted the hours. So I didn't count somebody ran in to use the bathroom. I didn't count big sister was in preparing the meal while the rest of us were out here. But as you know, most of the time it was 7, 8, 9 of us outside that whole time, while there might have been one person inside. The other reason we have it with my husband or myself outside for those hours is our son, if you haven't watched, he's 11, he has cerebral palsy and epilepsy. And so the idea of him having a seizure outside and his siblings having to take care of it is not something that is okay for our family. They do know what to do in a seizure, but we want to be the ones who are responsible for his safety and not make a sibling feel bad that he gets hurt on their watch, I guess I would say. So we do it that we are outside, our hours are counted when the majority of the family is outside. So over the course of the time, over the course of the full year, because we still have a month and a half left, everyone would have gotten over 1,000 hours, even with those hours that they were in. But we're gonna come back and do the rest of this video in a few minutes. Okay, so back to the video. We went and put our Walmart stuff away, and I gained a helper. This little guy's a little grumpy today because he wants to get into everything. Right. Okay, so we started our 1,000 hours January 1st when we were in Tennessee. We got a lot of hours in every day, and as the year went on, we did more and more things outside because it got warmer and warmer. For our family, we are people who do like to go outside, but I am somebody who, I love being outside once I get outside, but the act of getting outside, I like to sit inside and read books and play games and that type of thing. So the act of getting outside was the part that I needed the challenge for. I don't know exactly what parts of the challenge were most helpful to the rest of my family, but for me, that was very helpful. We also did things like more meals outside, or taking our read aloud outside and snuggling up under a tree, or things like that. I know, there's a baby. Do you want to go watch the show with them? So it's also getting close to nap time. What do you want to do? So we did the challenge, got it done in October. We will not be keeping track of a challenge again this year, for multiple reasons. One of them is we're going to be in Maine for the year, and we're going to have a baby in May. So for me, pregnancy can be quite challenging. I know, you would like some milk, but we're not having milk right now. Okay, I know. For me, pregnancy, no, we don't hit. So you get to see child training on the video too. Hey, baby, listen. Would you like something else? Do you want a snack? Hey, do you want a snack? Okay, we're gonna pause. We'll be right back. Okay, so we're back. Sorry, not sorry for that interruption. We are a real family, and I don't make the children stay away necessarily while we're doing the videos. Not that sometimes I'm like, hey, you guys can do this thing while I do the video, but we are well, we are, me, is weaning the toddler right now. Not totally, but making him realize that sometimes he doesn't need milk when he thinks he does. So he was a little upset at me. So we have dealt with the problem and he's happy now. So we did the 1,000 hours. We will not be tracking this coming year. One, because we're going to be in Maine with a new baby. I have hard pregnancies and I take my recovery time after a baby very seriously and spend 6 weeks just snuggling baby. And so I'm not that we won't go outside, but I'm not going to be trying to make sure the other kids are getting the time that they need and I'm able to supervise outside if that is not what's best for me and baby. So we won't be counting for that reason. We also feel that this year was very much needed, I guess you could say, in a way to push us to being outside and trying to do more things that we would normally just do inside, taking those activities outside to be able to get the vitamin D and fresh air and being out in God's creation. But we feel that we've now made some new changes that are going to be good going into the future. And so we're not going to actually do the tracking. We probably will be doing short challenges as a family of like, let's see how long it takes to get 20 hours outside, or let's see if we can eat 3 meals outside this week. Those types of things to encourage us if we feel like we're spending a little too much time inside. But the idea is to not track. It was one more thing to do in my already busy life, and it was good and needed at the time, but something that I feel isn't necessary for us to be able to continue with the good habits that we've started this year. So we will be in Maine most of next year. Not saying we won't take a trip out of state to see Virginia or something like that, but we definitely won't be spending the amount of time out of state that we did this year. So we will not be tracking. And if you are interested in the challenge, Ginny Urick has just put out a new book that's like on pre-order right now. I don't remember what day it comes out, but it's called Until the Streetlights Turn On. And it's about how childhood has changed for kids, of just the like activities and everything that kids are thrown into, that there's not time to actually just be outside and playing. And also the 1,000 hours outside group is just great if you're looking for recommendations on things to do or equipment to buy, gear to buy, those types of things. It's just a good encouragement. It is not all Christian based, but there are Christians on the group. And if you are looking for just some interesting reads, Ginny Urick actually reads lots of books every year. She's read over 200 this year and has done podcasts with the people who have written the books. And some of those podcasts are really, really interesting. I've really enjoyed multiples that I've listened to on the 1,000 Hours podcast. So we got to meet her back in May at the Teach Them Diligently conference. And that was really fun to get to meet the person who started this whole movement. And it's just interesting to see the way that people raise their children now. A lot of kids spend very little time outside, and ways to get your kids excited about being outside and being out in nature. And when you do that, you get chances to teach them about God and the world around them. So yeah, so that's what we're doing for the 1,000, or what we did for the 1,000 Hours challenge. And if you have questions about that or being outside or anything like that, leave comments below and I'll answer them. We'll talk to you guys next time on Herding Little Cows to the Glory of God.